Tonight on KREM 2 News, a Spokane woman's trial started today for the murder of her father back in 2024. We were in the courtroom and bring you the very latest tonight.
Looks like we're done with the rain and snow for a while, though we're going to have to deal with some breezy conditions the next couple of days. I'm also tracking a pretty nice sunny weekend ahead.
Plus, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources warns budget cuts could force closures of trails and campgrounds across the state. Why funding is falling short and which sites are in danger of closing. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Night Report on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. Today, the trial began for a woman who allegedly shot and killed her father in their Spokane home in 2024. KREM 2's Regan Gallo was in court all day and brings us the latest tonight.
33-year-old Alyssa Bradburn sat in front of a jury for the first time, even seen smiling multiple times throughout the day. 2 years ago, court documents say Bradburn called 911 on herself right after allegedly shooting and killing her father, Timothy Bradburn. Today, the jury heard opening statements from both the prosecuting and defense attorneys.
She shot him twice in the chest, once in the arm, and once in the forehead, just to make absolutely sure he was dead. Timothy Bradburn would be declared deceased at the scene.
She has made no attempts to obscure or hide her actions. In fact, she called 911 immediately after the incident occurred, and then she cooperated fully and voluntarily with the investigation.
Several witnesses took the stand today, and the courtroom listened to the initial 911 phone call.
So what started this all tonight?
He came home from Hawaii.
He came home from Hawaii and that's why you shot him?
Witness testimonies allege that Bradburn intentionally left her journal at the scene for authorities. In it, she reportedly describes the plans she made to kill her father. Court documents also noted Bradburn allegedly planned the shooting weeks in advance, and they say she even practiced shooting at a local range. Before his death, Timothy Bradburn arrived home from the airport. Investigators say he was living in Hawaii for several months. Alyssa reportedly told authorities her father was emotionally abusive towards her. She said he was also violent towards her dogs, and she claimed when she was younger, he sexually assaulted her. Both attorneys today say they anticipate closing statements for trial could be early next week. Alyssa and her brother are expected to take the stand before end of trial. Reporting in Spokane, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
All right, we're going to switch gears now and take a quick look at your forecast. Meteorologist Michelle Boss is in for Jeremy tonight. And Michelle, what can we expect tonight into tomorrow morning?
We're looking at relatively quiet weather, temperatures falling down close to around freezing overnight. We're going to be in and out of the clouds, and it's going to be another breezy day tomorrow and Friday. Out there right now, temperatures are mainly in the 30s across the inland northwest. We're at 37 in Spokane, 39 in Coeur d'Alene. Still a couple of warmer spots in the 40s out west, and a little bit cooler to our East St. Mary's, 32, Moscow, 33. But those winds are going to stay elevated throughout the overnight hours, 10 to 15 miles per hour, and then we'll see those gusts up around 30 again tomorrow and for Friday as well. Those winds should calm down on Saturday. Mentioned us being in and out of the clouds. We've got some passing high clouds moving through right now. Those will move on through, and we'll just be in and out of the clouds throughout the day tomorrow. So we should see some sunshine. Should send temperatures back up to the mid 40s, similar to today, but a little bit of a warm up heading into the weekend. Upper 40s Friday and Saturday, and we should be close to 50 by Sunday.
Michelle, thank you. It is time for your Night Beat with a quick look at some of today's top local stories. A man is dead after being shot by Spokane police this morning. Police say the man was connected to the deadly stabbing at the Apple Tree Inn up in North Spokane over the weekend. It was around 11 p.m. last night when Spokane police discovered one of the suspects involved with Sunday's deadly stabbing was staying somewhere in the area. Hours after multiple agencies arrived on scene to help contact the man, he reportedly tried to run away, jumping through neighbors' yards in the area before running into law enforcement, carrying what investigators say looked like a long gun. Neighbor Christian Jimenez says he saw everything happen just feet away from his own backyard.
Around like 1:30ish, I had noticed from my kitchen window that kind of faces the alley a bit. I saw red and blue lights, and I heard, I want to say at least 5-6 shots ring out, and I thought, this isn't going to end well.
Police say they began to perform life-saving measures, but that man died on the scene. The officers involved are on administrative leave per protocol. The Spokane Independent Investigation Response Team will be taking over the investigation. SPD says the names of the officers will be released, but at a later time. A second man police believed is involved in Sunday's deadly stabbing appeared in court today. Court documents show 28-year-old Jonathan Woodcock now faces a second-degree murder charge as either a, quote, actor or accomplice in that crime. Police obtained security footage from the Rosars across the street from the Apple Tree Inn that shows two suspects fleeing from the motel after the stabbing and getting into a truck. The license plate, they say, of the truck is registered to Woodcock. He's being held on a $1 million bond and is expected to appear in court again early next month. The Spokane County Medical Examiner released the identity of the man killed in a hit-and-run crash in Spokane Valley on Saturday. 48-year-old Rogelio Santiago Sanchez died due to blunt force injuries to his head. Authorities say the 35-year-old Spokane Valley suspect has been detained and is now facing a vehicular homicide charge. And tonight we're learning WSU sanctioned its Sigma Chi fraternity for hazing and underage drinking. The university decided that the fraternity would lose recognition for 2 semesters and they must stay alcohol-free for 1 year once they are re-recognized. The fraternity must also submit an organizational plan for member development. The discipline comes after 2 events last September, one in which a member was told to carry an item at all times and another where alcohol was served to someone underage at a social event. That's it for your Night Beat. For more on any of these stories, head to our website, KREM.com. In national news tonight, at least 4 people aboard a U.S. speedboat were killed after entering Cuban waters. 5 Cuban border guard troops approached the boat, registered out of Florida, as it was northeast of the El Pino Canal for identification when shots rang out. Cuban officials claim those on board opened fire first, injuring a Cuban commander, causing them to return fire, killing 4 and injuring 6 others. The injured were evacuated and received medical attention. It remains unclear tonight whether any U.S. citizens were on board that speedboat or why it entered Cuban waters. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed the shootout and is now trying to get investigators to do an independent probe into what exactly took place. More Epstein-related trouble with more big names less than 24 hours before both Bill and Hillary Clinton are set to talk about Epstein in testimony to Congress. Larry Summers, a former Clinton administration Treasury Secretary, says he'll retire from his remaining post at Harvard University after November's release of some Epstein files showed dozens of messages between the two. Meanwhile, Bill Gates has apologized to the staff of his foundation after the files revealed Gates had met with Epstein years after Epstein's guilty plea to a sex offense.
You know, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
President Trump made no mention of the survivors or his Justice Department's decision to withhold millions of pages of files from public view during last night's State of the Union address. This as the Justice Department remains under fire for only releasing roughly half of the estimated 6 million pages that they have on Epstein. All right, don't go anywhere yet. Following President Trump's comments last night against voting by mail, find out what Washington officials are saying about potential changes. That's in just 90 seconds. But first, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources says ongoing budget shortfalls could lead to trail and campground closures across Washington. What's behind the funding cuts and which sites could be on the chopping block?